Ma'am, it's really very motivating to see that you get all the parents together and you're making so much of a difference. It takes
Yes.
a lot of effort, ma'am, and who would do this, ma'am, but you,
Thank you. But
really.
I think, I'm also excited that we have enough of a group of parents who are very active now. They're getting it. Everybody here, I
Yeah,
think,
ma'am.
gets it and they've
It's
started
making so
implementing it.
much.
And
Ma'am,
that makes
because
a difference.
once we implement, we are seeing so many changes, ma'am.
Yes.
Like,
So I
uh,
was actually going to have you speak a few minutes in the beginning, but let me just do a brief
yeah, yeah.
introduction because this is a sort of a new phase in a number of different ways. So
Right.
this is a Fill with Peace session, family immersion for lifelong learning. Peace is presence, engagement, activation, connection, and the last one is enrichment. So this was based on suggestion from Rasa. We have changed that to enrichment. Uh, Rasa has actually gone through a big change right now, just last week. So Ramana Maharshi, their work, it was theater arts for holistic development, which I've talked about a lot. It has now become CHETAS, which is consciousness uh, through holistic education via theater arts sadhana. All this is a big, movement forward. But for me, the most important word there is sadhana. Sadhana basically means disciplined practice. And whatever we are talking about, it's about practice. From some time ago, when I started with this 100-day lab for the first time, my goal has always been sadhana. And why is that? Because I have never had problems finding, I was very fortunate. I had some of the best RDI professionals, so many other professionals, Enki, all these people were there. Everybody is giving me so much information and guidance. But ultimately, what do you do? There's too much. We used to go for this. In fact, that's where I got the family immersion idea from. We used to go to this place called Pace Place, where they had an excellent family immersion program. We go for 1 week. It was very intense. So much information was given to us. But at the end of the day, we had to be able to come back and say, I can't really implement all of this. Let me take one small thing and start implementing. So that was where this 100-day, lab idea came from. So I have always been about sadhana because I feel regardless of how great a professional is, ultimately parents have to do the work. So if we
Correct, ma'am.
don't do the sadhana, even the best professional is not going to give us the result. So sadhana has always been my focus. So I'm very happy that Chetas actually had sadhana or practice as a word. So I'm very happy about that. And I think we are probably the first ebook to come under the Chetas banner. So it's been a pretty exciting week for us. And I'm happy that Ujwal is here with us, and pretty soon we'll start the practical part of it. But just to give a little perspective, keep the mind sadhana in mind. I'm not about disseminating information. That is not my focus. My focus is about getting parents to try something, to practice something, whatever little that is. Okay. So welcome Ujwal. And today's practice, Ujwal is going to give a couple of very specific things, which I think can be very useful for our children and for us. One is smile, and one is silence. And both of these are not just abstract concepts. How do you do this as a sadhana? I know I've had this conversation with Manju. Social smile is one of the very early social things that develop in children. Before around 2 months, 3 months, it's there. But our children often don't smile much. They're not going to greet anybody with a smile, oftentimes. Conversations also, they may not smile. So we can coach them, but it may not come from the heart, right? Because you've been just telling them as a technique, right? When you see somebody smile, that is not what we want. I think we want that smile to come more naturally. How does that happen? At least for Anant, it came through that sadhana, because when we started the first, let me answer this question. Muthukumari was asking, do we need the children? They can be there because Ujwal is going to do an activity soon in a few minutes. It's up to you. I think it'll be good if the children are there to participate in those activities, but I just want to give a little context to the parents. So when we came and Anand started with Ujwal, in the very first Adavu, and I'll let Ujwal explain what that is, smiling was incorporated. And I quickly noticed that when we started practicing, when Anand looked at the screen and practiced, he never smiled. So I said, there's only one way to go about this. I started practicing with him. So we would actually smile together and do that activity because just looking at the screen was not working. Then he did another one where silence was there. So somewhere that seed was planted. So we didn't say, practice silence. But what happened was this activity that Ujwal is also going to do today planted that seed of silence as well. And Anant had experimented with silence a couple of times on and off before, but I think this experience made it more, set in his brain in some way. So both of these, a theater arts activity was a gentle way to plant a seed. Ujwal often uses this word, planting a seed. So nobody said, Anant, we're going to start practicing silence. It was through this experiences that this started happening. And Manju commented a little while ago, I see that Anand smiles a lot more now. And he surely does. He may not smile as much in the dance because he's got to, take care of too many other motor and so many other things. But in real life, which is probably where it matters a lot, he smiles a lot more. You'll see many of his photographs where he smiles a lot. So, two very important practices or sadhana. First of all, we can smile more. Secondly, we can encourage our children to smile more. So one of the activities that Ujwal is going to do is about smiling, and the second one is about silence. I encourage parents to participate in both activities and, as appropriate, involve your children in them. For us, this was for several months after we started with Ujwal, this is what I used to practice with Anant. He would do the more advanced Bharatanatyam pieces on his own, but I used to practice the adavus with him just to get that, smile going. Okay. So now over to Ujwal. And Ujwal, if you can just say a few words about yourself before you start, because this is going to be our main recording to get people started. And if you can say a few words about yourself and then start your activity. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramaji. Namo Ramana, everyone. I am Ujwal Jagadeesh. I am currently working as a senior faculty and the senior artist at Ramana Maharshi Center for Learning. And
Ramana Jalana.
Namo Ramana Daksh, how are you? Yes. I was telling about myself. I work at Ramana Maharshi Center for Learning, and I have also been trained in Bharatanatyam from many years from great dance teachers. And the dance, I understood the purpose of dance by being part of Ramana Maharshi Center for Learning and my association with the Ramana Nritya Alaya in Chennai, which has brought out this methodology called Theatre Arts for Holistic Development, Kameshwar, which I was part of the diploma course. And later, this methodology we have been using at Ramana Maharshi Center for Learning to teach all children the art like Bharatanatyam and music and dance and drama too. And also we go to government schools where we teach the children their academics through theatre arts, and the theatre arts will not only teach them the academics in a fun way but also bring out so many holistic goals are met, like they are more confident, they are able to express themselves well, and the discipline and all these are imbibed through the practice of theatre arts. And this is the work that I have been doing. So let us start with the activity. So we'll start with a small warm-up where we'll join our hands, close our eyes, and we will chant Om 3 times. Are you all ready? Join your hands, close your eyes. Om. Remember the God's power in our heart. ஓம்காரனை இதயத்தில் நினைந்தே. Now slowly open your eyes with a smile. மகிழ்வுடன் புன்னகை புரிந்தே. Smile brightly and hold your hands near your heart and remember the God's power. ஓம்காரனை இதயத்தில் நினைந்தே. Then show joy, happily you smile. மகிழ்வுடன் புரிந்தே. Hands on your hips and you tap your right leg, then you tap your left leg. Ready? 1, 2, 3, start. Right leg, then left. Ready? தை என்னும் ஸ்புரணத்துடனே தட்டடவை நாம் செய்திடுவோம். Again, தை என்னும் ஸ்புரணத்துடனே தட்டடவை நாம் செய்திடுவோம். Faster. தை ஸ்புரணத்துடனே தட்டடவை நாம் செய்திடுவோம். Now while doing this, remember the God's power in your heart and keep smiling, and we'll do once again. Ready? 1, 2, kitta takka தை என்னும் ஸ்புரணத்துடனே தட்டடவை நாம் செய்திடுவோம். Faster. தை takka tadding dinnatom. Take a deep breath in. Relax for a minute. Again, take a deep breath in. Relax. There is a silence which is shining in our heart, and the silence is calling us, come into me. So we should listen to that silence and turn our attention towards the heart, because that silence is so beautiful. How is it beautiful? It's so beautiful. Silence. Ready? Mohana Mona Ganamudan இதயத்தை நாட்டி ஒளிர்பவனுக்கு மோகன மௌன கானமுடன் இதயத்தை நாட்டி ஒளிர்பவனுக்கு. Hands on your hips again. The leg is you stretch. You sit in aramandi like this. Bend your legs. Okay. Stretch your right leg out. Then bring it back. Left leg out. And bring it back. Very good. Again. Out. Back. Out. And back. Again. Tayyum datta ஸ்புரணத்துடனே நாட்டடவை நாம் செய்திடுவோம். Again. தையும் தத்த ஸ்புரணத்துடனே நாட்டடவை நாம் செய்திடுவோம். Very good. A huge round of flower claps. Great. I just wanted to tell you how we came to these two important points. Ramana says that our own true nature is happiness. Actually, our natural state is to be happy and peaceful. But our mind is always complaining about the faults and the lacunas in our lives. So you are reminding the mind, oh mind, be happy with whatever has been given. So many gifts have been already given. So enjoy those gifts and be grateful. And also understand the same power which has given this beautiful gift will take care of you, will provide all that is necessary. So with that faith, you smile and you learn everything. So this thattadadvu brought us to a point where we instead of smile and dance, we came to a point where we say smile and learn. So the life gives us opportunities to learn every moment, and instead of feeling worried, oh, I have to learn this, I have to learn that, instead you smile and enjoy and love the process of learning. And about the silence, Ramana says our true nature is also silence. When we work from the silence, then we bring joy and peace to everybody around. But when we work through our mind and our ego, which only creates conflicts and creates all the other problems. So Bhagavan says, get back to the silence. And when you get back to the silence, whatever work you do will automatically bring joy and peace. So these are the basic two points that we would like you to practice, and when we practice that, it will naturally take us to these 5 aspects of peace, and which will surely make our lives peaceful and joyous. Thank you, Ramaji.
I wanted to invite Monica to share a little bit about her experience, because we started with silence accidentally. So once or twice Anant had just experimented with silence and he just enjoyed it. And after that, what happened, I think this naatadavu must have planted a seed somewhere. He started thinking more consciously about it. I know Ujwal has shared that before, how in the Girivalam he just decided to not speak to anyone and just decided to walk silently. Over the last few years, it has become much more deliberate. I think he's realized that, as his language has grown and his ability to communicate has grown, he's actually getting more overwhelmed because he's got a lot of thoughts, a lot of things he wants to share, and that overwhelm has only increased. So we are really needing a way to downshift, because we're constantly talking. And I asked him yesterday, Anand, what happens when you talk a lot? And he very precisely told me, when I talk a lot, I feel tired. And then I said, Anand, what happens when you feel tired? When I feel tired, I get a lot of thoughts. So think about this. He's talking a lot. It makes him tired. And when he's tired, he gets more thoughts. And then he's saying more. So now he's caught in this loop from which he's not able to extricate himself, right? And he's getting into this very, what I call the tired but wired loop. So the first place we broke that tired but wired loop is when we were in Tiruvannamalai and Anant listened to the chants in Ramanashramam. It was a huge breakthrough because we were sitting in this very silent meditation hall. And it was just lucky that our first experience of the chant was in this very quiet, dark hall and not in the main hall where they were singing. So he came out and he immediately said, Amma, these chants stop the thoughts in my head. So the point I'm trying to make is, just because our children do not talk a lot, doesn't mean they don't have a lot of thoughts. They may have a lot of thoughts. They may be struggling with those thoughts. They may not be able to express them, but they may actually be struggling with it. So we don't know. And all I know is he's seeking out silence himself. So now this week, for example, is extremely busy. His grandma's here. My grandson is coming on Tuesday. We are going to a family function. He has joined Rasa, which is the group theatre arts program, which he was not able to handle because of all the sensory issues. He's wanting to go back there for the group experience. He started that last week. So there's just a lot on his plate. But by now he's realized that to be able to handle that, I need silence. So believe it or not, yesterday and day before, he has been on total silent mode. He's really been very conscious about not speaking much. Now, of course, the silence which Ujwal is referring to is inner silence, which means absence of thoughts, not really the speech. But I think especially for our children, those two may be very strongly connected, because you can see the connection that Anant was making, that when I'm tired, when I speak a lot, I get tired. When I get tired, I get a lot of thoughts. So these inner and outer silence are not different. I think they are connected. So I wanted Monica to comment on it. And if Bharati can, I would like her to comment on it, because Bharati was another person who told me, she said she's also an experienced parent of an adult. And she said, nobody's ever told us that silence might be needed. And for me also, it has been an eye-opening thing. Because from the time of diagnosis, we are only we speak too much, we're trying to get them to speak too much, and we never think that silence may be very important. So my personal philosophy nowadays is, from silence blossoms speech. You may actually be more silent for longer periods of time. Think about what creates silence. Silence can be through shared activities. We are both sitting together and doing something quietly. Silence can be through Anand sitting for an hour and doing his mandala. Silence can be realized in many ways. I think it's just being mindful about silence and realizing that just pushing speech, just being anxious about speech and pushing that may be counterproductive, because you might be trying to address a speech problem, but you're getting them stressed out and stirred up. So you're creating a different set of problems by trying to push speech too much. So that is something I wanted to share. Muthu Kumari?
Yes, ma'am. आपका स्कूल का दक्ष को, हाँ.
Yeah.
Yes,
Go ahead,
sorry,
Muthu
ma'am,
Kumari.
there was a call. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Ma'am, I
Muthu
just
Kumari had
lost
a
it.
question. Muthu
Okay,
Kumari had a
fine.
question? Yeah.
Ma'am, yeah, ma'am. Actually, I want to know about the meaning of silence. As you said, inner silence is one thing, outer silence is being silent, not talking anything. Inner silence is like cut off all the thoughts.
Yes.
Okay, so don't think anything, just be blank.
Yes.
Okay, that is inner silence. Outer silence, don't talk anything.
Yes.
Okay, so if you want to practice inner silence for Ritesh, one thing is what I thought is, like, when we are sitting together doing something, okay, don't keep on instructing him.
Yes.
Okay, do like this, see, I have done, so you can do like this. Okay, see, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, and keep on saying something. Either give an instruction or see what I am doing. So I don't want that to happen. So when I hear silence, the word silence from you, first thought comes in mind is that one. Cut off the instructions, cut off too much talking.
Yes.
Okay, explanation also. So that comes in my mind, because as a parent, what we do is we want our child to do something. Okay, do one show, or whatever is like dancing also, or do like this, come on, do.
Yes.
So that main thing should be cut off. So when word silence comes in mind, this is the first thing is coming in mind, because I give a lot of instructions for him. Ritesh, see, I'm doing. Then thing is, when I like, sometimes I don't give instruction also, but I keep talking, I keep singing and doing that activities.
Yes.
Okay, so for example, that day I was doing some mobility work. I was putting the ladder down and I was jumping, one jump, two jumps, coming back, sideways jumping. So what I did is, Ritesh, see, I'm doing this one. Ritesh, I'm doing this. Then I started singing and doing. So then at one period I thought, so this also should be cut off. Silently do something.
I think you're coming to a very subtle point, because when we started doing relationship development intervention, they did teach us to shift to declarative communication. So we'll not ask them questions, but we'll keep saying things, right? So you are no longer giving commands, not instructing, not correcting, but you're talking all the time. And I think even that's not necessary. I'm thinking back to the moments that Anant and I enjoy the most. So we'll go for, in the morning, we go for, the Natya practice. Now, Ujwal has realized that Anant is really seeking very soft, slow music. He doesn't want to dance too much. He wants very quiet singing. And Ujwal actually sang one of those songs in the last session he was here. And Anant is himself initiating. He's saying, Amma, let's sing the Padigam. Amma, let us sing the Padigam. So we'll just quietly sing it together. In the middle, when he feels like it, he'll say something about it. I'll respond to it. We'll keep singing. So I think just a lot of speech, at least for Anant, it really overwhelms him. And I realize that Ujwal's style of being very low-key, not only not using too many commands, but he's just interacting through Natya, right? So if he's doing the animal song, and I think people are realizing this when they see the videos of Ujwal and Anant. So if you see any typical video, he's just doing the animal song. Anant knows he has to imitate with him, and they both just start doing it together. You don't see him giving him a lot of instructions. Just do. If he's doing something wrong, fine. Occasionally he will correct, but not a lot. So people feel this. I know that a lot of parents have liked Ujwal's videos with Anand without knowing exactly why. But now we are beginning to break it down. And it's because of that low demand style. No, not much talking, right? They're just doing. Imitation actually helps you cut down thoughts. And I think Suchita had talked about this because she and her daughter sit down and, they draw together and, I have a sheet, you have a sheet, and you're both doing together. Or you can take, I'll color one and you color one, but we quietly do that. So there are many ways to silently coordinate. So when we go to Tiruvannamalai, we walk together to the ashram. We're sitting there together and listening to the chant. We're not talking. We're very quiet, but we are sharing that moment, right? So I think we've got somewhere in our head that only when we talk, we are sharing a good experience. That is not true. We don't have to talk, right? So give yourself permission to just enjoy an experience in silence. And that may actually be something our children cherish, just going in to walk in nature, just quietly walk. We don't have to talk all the time. I think it's just this thing, we're constantly bombarded with information. We're constantly, we ourselves are always getting too much information. So I think it's been so I'll leave it to Monica for a couple of minutes. She's the one who used the word paradigm shift, and surely it's been a paradigm shift for me, especially I'm a professor, right? I talk a lot. So, to realize that we have to now, step back and we don't need to talk a lot. So Monica, I just wanted to invite you to share a few words about your experience.
Yeah, I can just talk about my experience, which I think as a parent, a lot of people will relate to. So when I used to attend Ujwal Anna's class, I would realize that all the children are very attuned to him. So what Ujwal Anna would do, like I'll give you example of the last class that happened, ma'am. I told you very briefly. So Ujwal Anna was explaining something, and Daksh in between wanted to talk. So Ujwal Anna didn't tell him, Daksh stop, Daksh wait. Ujwal Anna kept on singing and narrating. So in the beginning, I thought maybe Ujwal Anna can't hear audio problem, but somehow I held myself and I did not say anything. And Daksh was like, Ujwal Anna, he's disturbing. But Ujwal Anna is silent. He's not disturbed. So silent also means not being disturbed. I mean,
Yes.
It also doesn't mean just silent means like this silent. And then once he finished his what Ujwal Anna had to do, he said, yes, Daksh, now say. Then I was like, oh, wow, it's actually a very small thing. So what I realized that we as parents, if a child does something, we get very hyper-arousal. Wait,
Yes.
don't do. Stop. Already the child is so hyper. And on top, we are saying so many things. Like, ma'am, that exam, I don't know if Ujwal Anna, are you still listening? Are you there? I don't know if he's still there or listening. At least he can listen to the
Yeah,
recording
he
later.
was saying he would listen to it. So
You make him listen to this part, ma'am, personally, like, yeah. So that's what we realize, that we are ourselves starts talking so much to the child at that time, and we don't slow down, we don't have silence. Like, you leave the inner silence and leave the thought silence and leave the different silence, but we ourselves first need to keep quiet, really keep quiet. That is one thing I learned. And then I realized that some children might be talking, some children talk like Doug starts asking a lot of questions.
yes,
And initially you're like, oh, it's asking a lot of questions. It's very good.
Yes.
That means that, we should answer more. Then more answer. And I would be tired. 1 hour we are talking. But that means he is actually getting silence. For some children who are not talking, maybe they are jumping, maybe they are doing something else. But we need to identify. Talking is just one thing, maybe something else.
Yes.
Like opposite of silence is not talking. Opposite of silence could also be jumping.
Yes.
That's what I'm looking
Great
at.
point.
So we
Yes.
need to yes, ma'am. So we are only saying talking, ma'am. So far you're only telling talking.
Yes.
But what about children who are not talking but they're doing something else?
Yes.
Which is the system going into the, maybe they're jumping too much.
Yes.
Hi, madam, 2 minutes. Maybe they're jumping too much, but that will make them more tired.
Yes.
So that is when I realized that we need to train them that you need to have silence.
Yes.
Now I have put up a rule in the house. Sundays there will be no rhythm in the house. Daksh will be too hyper. Sunday, Daksh, you have to be silent. I don't know how, but it was completely contrary. We would go crazy. So it is such an important thing that you be calm down. So house, I would tell Jayant also. I will tell everybody. Now keep quiet. You don't be hyper. Daksh would get hyper. Keep quiet. Keep quiet. Everybody has to keep quiet.
Yes.
And everybody will be silent. It will be so good.
And
I think
you actually brought in another point, Monica, which is the from silence, you can think of it as a gradation. From silence, it's not, because Anant is now really seeking soft music, soft movement, soft
Hi, ma'am.
dance. Hello, Daksh, how are you?
Fine.
Okay, we'll leave your mom soon, okay? So,
Ma'am, actually,
Jayant ke paas.
like silence, like for 1 day or 1 hour, you can be silent.
just 1 minute, Muthukumari. I think the time is going to be over.
Yes, yes.
Do you all want to join back after it's over for a few minutes? Okay. So, okay, go ahead. I think it's going to be cut very soon. Why don't I end this, because so that it doesn't abruptly cut? Okay. So to summarize, today's theme is From Silence Blossoms Speech. So I want parents to think about what silence means: inner silence, outer silence, silence for parents, silence for children. For me, Anant is an adult and he is seeking silence. He's very proactive. Amma, I'm going to be silent today. And he's also realizing that when there's a lot of stuff going around, that's when he needs to be more silent. So all of this is happening. And silence is very much related to peace, because if you have a little bit of silence, the silent presence is a little bit different from, us ourselves being very, jumpy and enthusiastic and so on. We might think we're very enthusiastic and engaging, but maybe our child doesn't really want that. Maybe he just wants somebody to be quiet around him, which is what I learned, that I feel that there is an excellent match between what Anant wants and how Ujwal teaches, because there's a very, calm, regulated style. That's what he seems to be looking for. So we also have to keep that.
And actually, ma'am, actually, one thing I would want to like to tell to other parents also. See, ma'am, you give example of Ujwal Anna and Anant because that is your experience.
Yes.
Like, right. So there is one thing you might just say that you're giving Ujwal Anna's and Anant example, but there's other way that we parents should see that how we can drive value out of it.
Yes.
Like you are simplifying. You could have also said that there is a teacher, there is a this thing, and this is what you should do. It would have become very theory. But because you're giving a real example, so from that example, we have to dissociate from two people.
Yes.
Which is Rama ma'am, Anant and Ujjwal Anna, but take the learnings of it as an experience.
Great point.
Like,
Great point.
That is, initially I used to struggle with it, that I used to think, okay, Anand dances, Daksh doesn't dance it, so how does it correlate?
Yes.
So initially, I'm just telling you my experience, ma'am.
No,
but then
actually,
I realized later that this is, okay, it could be dance, it could be reading, it could be anything. But that correlation, you are telling your experiences, which as a child of a neurodivergent adult, see, ma'am, we would struggle the entire lifetime to understand the things that Anand is saying, the fact that lie low, the fact that silence. Ma'am, I think nobody can tell us what is going in their minds.
Yes.
How we as parents would have understood what Anand is telling to the world.
Yes.
Ma'am, I'm getting goosebumps, ma'am, that I'm saying this now. But it is huge, ma'am. He's really a spiritual soul, ma'am, Anand, who is telling this. And, ma'am, and we are getting to know.
It's very helpful because, he is the one leading the silence. In our case, he is saying he wants it. So it is like he's figured it out through his interactions with Ujwal. He somehow figured it out. And now he's driving it, the whole experience of silence. But I think what I also want to say is your point about that specific experience. From that, this has been a journey from our experience with Ujwal to this fill with peace. That's really what we have done, to take apart, reverse engineer the experience literally and identify the variables. That is how peace came, right? Because I realized that that's what Ujwal is doing. He's always bringing a calm, steady presence. He has a very low key, low demand style of engagement. He manages to keep the activation very low. And that has been amazing for Anant, because I think that is why he has progressed so much. It's something I really try to, it's not easy for me because my style is different, but that's what I'm working towards: connection. And multiple people have mentioned he's very attuned to, he knows where everybody is, and he's very attuned to the learner. And, even in the online setting. And so obviously in one-on-one, which is what we have, it's much more. And then you have the enrichment. So when all these ingredients are there, you have more enriching experiences. So I think I'm about to close here because it's definitely going to